Okay. As I was saying, Ecclesiastes 4, 5, and 6 tonight, and there's going to be there's good things tonight too. I don't mean to be like, there's good things later, but there's good things tonight too. So just to recap for those who may not know, is Ecclesiastes was written by Solomon, king of Israel, towards the end of his life, after he had gone apostate, and he had allowed his foreign wives to draw him into idolatry, which actually meant, because they were worshiping gods like Chemosh and Molech, and so they were sacrificing their children, which meant it was Solomon's children that they were sacrificing to these idol gods. And it's so weird how, the wisest man on earth could have allowed himself to be drawn into that. But it took years. It didn't happen right at first. But you think to yourself that he, because of his great wisdom, he was self-reliant. And especially when you are intelligent, but you don't necessarily have to be intelligent for this to happen, is that it's a slow drip that kind of gets you into places like that. You can literally reason yourself into things that you would never think. It just takes time.
A little bit of compromise at a time.
A little compromise at a time, and you could either be taught into or talk yourself into believing that good is evil and evil is good. Doesn't happen in a day usually. It happens over time. And there are cults that practice cultic type of abuse who believe they are doing good when they're abusing these kids. They really do. They believe that they are allowing them to escape their I forget the name of it, but they're the carnality of what they're trapped in, and helping them to ascend to something better and higher. And they talk themselves into that mindset, and it wouldn't happen in a day, but over time they're able to slowly, embrace that. And it's hard to, but that's the truth. The ones who are really sold out for it, they actually think that they're doing good and not evil to these kids. So that's just an example. But so anyway, towards the end of his life, he's re-examining everything that he has done and seen under the sun, leaving out the things that are in heaven and the kingdom of heaven. So everything, it's a great book to really see the end of the matter for all of the things that can be done or achieved in the world. He really was the pinnacle of achievement of mankind. So he experienced everything, learned everything, had all the wealth, etc., etc. And so these are his this is his process. These are his notes at the end of his life after he had seen everything under the sun. And then by the end of the book, he realizes or concludes that there's only one thing that's important, that's God. But it takes some chapters to get to that conclusion. So we're in chapter 4. Verse 1, then I returned and considered all the oppression that is done under the sun. And look, the tears of the oppressed, but they have no comforter. On the side of their oppressors, let me stop for just a second. The tears of the oppressed, but they have no comforter. Remember that this is under the sun. We know that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. That is scripture.
Verses you don't put on the fridge, because that's taking it out of context.
It would be taking it out of context if you put that one verse on the fridge. But the Lord is close to those who are brokenhearted. Right. On the side of the oppressors, there is power, true, but they have no comforter on earth. Therefore, I praised the dead who are already dead, more than the living who are still alive. Yet better than both is he who has never existed, who has not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Now, that would be the logical conclusion if you weren't taking into account the kingdom of God. That would be where you'd end up. But the thing that changes the entire paradigm is the Lord. Again, I saw that for all the toil and every skillful work, a man is envied by his neighbor. This is also vanity and grasping for the wind. The fool folds his hands and consumes his own flesh. The note for that is the one doing nothing gets eaten up by his lifestyle. Laziness is a slow path to self-destruction, but a man who is too industrious has no leisure time. So there's both ends of it. If you're too lazy, your life will go into destruction. If you're too industrious, you'll never enjoy the things that you're working for. Seen that happen a lot of times. Then I returned and saw vanity under the sun. Oh, sorry, I skipped a verse. Better a handful with quietness than both hands full together with toil and grasping for the wind. So, and that is true. Better a handful with quietness than both hands full with toil, which meaning with chaos, disruption, toxicity, all the things that a lot of times come with wealth, things, a lot of stuff. It's better to have a little bit in your hand and peace.
It's better to just live modestly.
Live a simple life.
Live a simple life.
It really is true. And the funny thing is, y'all, I have been, it's really true that the Lord really, really tests you in the things you're teaching. This has been a wild week for me. And I have been so tested in these very principles. And I have been back and forth and seen it and looked at it. It's crazy how God does that. He does it every time. But it is true. A simple life is better. Then I returned and saw vanity under the sun. There is one alone without companion. He has neither son nor brother. Yet there's no end to all his labors, nor is his eye satisfied with riches. But he never asked, for whom do I toil and deprive myself of good? This is also vanity and a grave misfortune. So this is him observing the man who he's alone and he doesn't even have a companion or a brother or a son to leave all these riches for, and yet there's never enough. It's never enough. He just keeps on and keeps on and keeps on. Can't be content. Cannot be content. No simplicity. And if you're living that way, you would never be able to nurture a relationship anyway, which is probably why he doesn't have the relationships, because if this is all you're doing, you have no relationships. This is a note. The independent man never stops to ask, for whom am I doing this for? Mark 8:36 says, for what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? This is a tie into the New Testament, Mark 8:38, which is really true. You can gain the whole world and lose your own soul. We see it a lot. Verse 9, 2 are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. But if they fall, one will lift up his companion. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. Again, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? Though one may be overpowered by another, two can withstand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken. That one is repeated a lot of times in marriages and marriage ceremonies, because you have the two, and then the third would be the Lord, the Holy Spirit, and a three. Because if you have a braided cord, it's not easily broken. It would not be easily broken. And this is speaking of community. It doesn't necessarily have to be. This is the picture. Yeah. It can be friendship, family, just community. Because we
have to be a spouse.
A spouse, yeah. Because we all need each other for real. Oh, let me say this, because this is one I had so many thoughts this week. One of the things my sister has said a lot of zingers that stick in my head. Mm-hmm. And one of the things she said to me when I was in kind of the dark night of the soul, and I was going through a huge depression, and it was like I was really depressed and really lonely. And she said to me, and this is kind of a 12-step phrase, that they repeat a lot, but she says, Janice, there's a saying, to have a friend, be a friend. And if you're alone and lonely, then it is really up to you to reach out and be a friend to someone else. And that's a lot of times easier said than done. But one of the things she was saying to me, and it was true at the time, because she would ask me these pointed questions, and she'd ask me, she's like, well, why, what is it about, list off your complaints, what is it about this person, that person? Well, they don't understand me, or there's no way that they're not, it's like, we don't have anything in common, or this it's like, there's a list of reasons why that's not the person that I really want to go have coffee with right now, especially when I'm feeling that down, and, but, that is really arrogant. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, it's really kind of arrogant to feel like if you think that you're so unique that nobody can understand you and you isolate yourself, it's like you have to like look at yourself and examine that, So it's not in Ecclesiastes, but it'll preach to have a friend, be a friend, and what that means. Oh, she just woke up?
Yeah,
that was a long nap. But basically, she's got a voice like, it was always Madison when y'all were kids that you could hear over everybody in the house. It's that same volume.
I've heard a lot of people recently say if you want a village, you have to be a village. And it's mainly like videos of like people who like don't have kids yet or aren't in that stage of their life, but they're doing the things like the showers and the helping the new moms and that kind of. So when it's their turn, they'll get all of those things in return because you've been that village for somebody else, so you have a village behind you.
That's a really good point. I like that.
Yeah.
And it really, and it doesn't mean that you have to become like some kind of bestie. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I think that sometimes our expectations are unreasonable, especially the older you get and the more people have like more, it just is life. It's when you get older, the older you get, you just have more responsibilities and more bills and sometimes more kids or a spouse or whatever. And you don't have we see like Jolene and Bailey who spend every waking moment together. It's because they're kids and they can. But, and there's you just can't really do that, I mean, maybe, but it's hard to do that when you get older. But anyway, so it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be besties or that you have to love everything about that person. It's just not being isolated and appreciating the uniqueness of the person in front of you. One of the things that was a really, really good lesson for me when I started doing hair, I'll spare you the whole story about that because we have a lot of things to talk about. But when I did not grow up in salons, like a lot of the other girls that were in hair school, they were a part of the culture already. You know what I'm saying? They were in the salon culture and they all knew all the stuff and they knew all the shampoos, and I knew literally nothing of that. So when I started actually working in a salon, it was really jarring and shocking to me that guess what I had to do? Talk to people. And I blew it so bad, y'all. I blew it so bad at the beginning. I mean, blew it. But I was a young, I was just as interesting, I guess, but maybe a less diplomatic version, maybe. I'm trying to think of a good word.
It's weird to think because I can't think of you like that at all.
Thank you.
I feel like you've always been very attentive to people.
Yeah. Well, I was.
And like you've learned to.
So, thank you for that. I was attentive, but I'll tell you, I didn't know a lot of cultural norms. Do you know what I'm saying? With just general people. So I would just launch into topics that did not go over well with people that were just coming in they just came in for a haircut. you know what I'm saying? And I learned the hard way that like
not everybody agrees with.
Yeah, Yeah, or like I didn't like, this is weird. I just came to get my hair. And some people just like to just relax, and it's their kind of me time. They don't want to talk about whatever aliens or Nephilim or whatever. I'd say, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's no telling. I don't even remember.
You'd be surprised. Sometimes I find the squares know the most about the Nephilim.
Yes,
You'd be surprised.
What?
you're right now. But this was when you were, well, actually she was just born, and so this was, almost 30 years ago. So it wasn't as popular of a topic. I was ahead of my time. Yeah. But anyway.
You were. You have always been.
Thank
Every
you.
time.
Thank you. So.
It's a hard place to be.
So what I had to learn, what I had to learn was in order, because I had all my eggs in one basket, and that was the doing hair. I had all my eggs in that. I didn't feel like I could go to a 4-year college. Like I didn't have the money for that or anything. It's like I had to make this work. So I had to shut up. That was the only way I was going to be able to do this. I had to shut up. And so I learned through trial and error how to have conversation by just asking people questions over and over and over. Oh, where are you from? Oh, did you meet him there? What does he do? Do you have kids? What do they do? Do they live here? And I just keep asking questions and let them talk, right? But here's the magical thing that happened. Because when I started out, I really kind of had a chip on my shoulder. It was a little bit of a victim mentality. Like I've been through all this crap and nobody understands the crap I've been through. And there was that was true for the most part. But I didn't realize I had a chip on my shoulder, but I kind of did. I didn't think anybody that came in was going to understand me at all. And to be honest, starting out, I don't think I really liked them. But when the Lord did this on purpose. When I was in a position that I had to be quiet and shut up, I began slowly but surely, I began to learn the most amazing, beautiful things about people that came and sat in my chair. I just had to be quiet long enough and let them talk long enough to discover it. And I was constantly amazed at just, oh my gosh, just beautiful things that were unique to different people that would come and sit. And then I began to fall in love with them. And it changed like the whole dynamic. Where am I at? How do I get on that?
13. No,
we were talking about a threefold cord.
We were talking about loneliness, and to be a friend, you need to.
Thank you.
To be a friend, get a friend.
To have a friend, be a friend.
Yeah.
You
learned how to be a friend.
I learned how to be a friend. I learned to put down my own stupid crap and let someone else come into the space. Mm-hmm. Give somebody else space to just be. And discover the cool things about them. It doesn't mean that you guys are besties and you hang out every weekend. It just means that you can appreciate who they are and what they bring. And you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's what I meant by all of that. Okay. Thank you for keeping me on track.
All right.
Okay. 13. Hey, this is a good one for us in the room. For y'all in the room. I'm probably not a youth anymore, I'll pretend. Better a poor and wise youth than an old and foolish king who will be admonished no more. For he comes out of prison to be a king, although he was born poor in his kingdom. I saw all the living who walk under the sun. They were in the second youth who stands in his place. They were in the second youth who stands in his place. Okay, I think among all they were in the second place. I'll be honest, y'all, that is a little too trippy of the wording. Some of the Hebrew in this book was difficult to interpret, not for me, but the people who interpreted it.
He just came up and
15.
I saw the living who walk under the sun.
They were with the second youth who stands in his place. Like the second. Oh, I remember that. I remember now. The second, okay, so an old and foolish king who will no longer be admonished. The youth came and took his place.
Yes.
Is that okay? Okay, 16. There was no end of all the people over whom he was made king, yet those who come afterward will not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and grasping for wind. Okay, so here's the notation. We're starting on chapter 5. Solomon examines worshipers as insincere and hypocritical, robbing God of the worship that is rightfully his. Man, this one is deep, and there's some depth to this that I think you almost have to experience to really understand it. But I'll try to impart it. Walk prudently when you go to the house of God, and draw near to hear, rather than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they do not know that they do evil. So let me say that again. Walk prudently when you go to the house of God. It means be respectful. Respectful and wise. Understand who you're talking to.
When I was teaching about shrewdness, the prude is one of the synonyms to be wise.
Draw near to hear, like come in and listen to God. Listen to what he has to say, rather than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they do not know that they do evil.
I think you were saying that earlier.
I was kind of saying
People
that
on the
earlier.
other side, they think they're doing good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Let me just go forward because it's gonna expand on this without me commenting. Here's the first comment. Sacrifices are not substitutes for obedience. Offerings in the hand without obedient faith become a sacrifice of fools. Only a fool thinks he can deceive God. Man, I saw some stuff this week just listening to like YouTube stuff about there was a channel called Minor Prophets. They've been doing some exposure stuff about the cover-up culture, kind of like Mike Winger has been doing. And I won't name names because I kind of forgot all of the details. But anyway, they were going into this long video of some people, not just one, and the sin of simony in the New Testament, who thought he could buy the Holy Spirit, the gift of the Holy Spirit, the power. Like, hey, he came to. I can't remember if it was Peter or Paul, but he came and
Peter.
It was Peter, and he wanted to buy, like, hey, give me this power that you have. Show me how to do it. And he says, literally, it says, to hell with your money. Like the literal translation of that says to hell with your money.
Your money's gonna perish with you.
Yeah, it's a little. The translation it softens it a little bit, but in actuality, it says something closer to hell with your money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty savage of the apostles to
Right.
Very Peter.
Yeah.
Very Peter.
It is very Peter. It is very Peter. You're right. But these people on stage, and it was fairly recent. This is a fairly recent, but they were literally, because they hadn't collected what they thought was enough money in this one particular conference, they were like, come bring your seed offering and make a line and I'll pray for you, but don't come up here without your seed offering. And it was, I'm paraphrasing it, but they're basically saying, come up here with a check and you'll get prayer.
It's like the same thing, like, they're trying to sell it.
They're trying to sell it.
And the sorcerer was trying to buy it.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Same thing. Astonishing. It's astonishing to see.
And they're both at fault.
Yeah.
And the blind lead the blind into a pit.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
It's so dangerous. Yeah. It's
sad.
Yeah, it is so sad. Where am I at?
2.
So thinking that we've all seen this. We've all seen people that tithe to a church or do good deeds or do something that they feel like gets them a ticket punch to heaven, but that their lives are not obedient to God. but they think that they're in good standing because they do certain things, religious things, whatever it is. A lot of times it's tithing, not necessarily, but they do religious things thinking that that is what gets them into heaven. And only a fool thinks he can deceive God.
It's a Pharisee that's praying, oh Lord, I'm glad I'm not like that tax collector. I give 1/10 of all I have, and yada yada yada. And while the tax collector is woe is me, I'm a sinner.
Yeah.
And his offering of prayer was accepted and the other one was not.
Right. The humble and contrite heart is always what God is looking for. It's not the other. It's not the religious stuff, and it's not the offering stuff. You shouldn't neglect that, but if you've got that without the humble and contrite attitude, then you might as well just don't even do it. Stay home. You're making the rest of us look bad, honestly. Just stay home. Verse 2, do not be rash with your mouth, and let not your heart utter anything hastily before God. For God is in heaven and you on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. So here's the comment. Listen and get wisdom from God. Come near to him to receive what he has to say, and not so much of the vain things that we often think we want. So don't run into prayer rattling off all the things you want God to do for you. And especially... And we all hear this one a lot. The one of like, we're getting there, but just the constant, treating God like he is a genie in a bottle, or like a Santa Claus, or a vending machine, and it is unbelievably disrespectful. Unbelievably disrespectful.
Someone from Bethel said, I think of my Holy Spirit like a genie. Literally said those words.
I remember that video.
And I wonder if she'll ever repent for that, or
it makes you wonder.
She's got to know that people criticize that. There's so many videos on people criticizing it. Yeah. Because I don't know.
Name it and claim it is a movement now.
Oh,
it's been a movement.
Yeah, I mean, so it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Genie in the Bottle is the newest one, but it's sad.
That's old news. That was an old video.
But the name it and claim it is the same. It is. Yeah. It really is the same.
My coworker said it recently, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's it's become like really negative and like you don't think the right way if you don't believe that you can't name it and claim it.
It's
you know what I'm saying?
It's manifesting.
And it's just really, it's sad.
It is sad.
Because people start to think, well, because I have any doubt, I'm in the wrong against God. That's a sin. So if I don't name it and claim it, it's just really.
It's sad.
It's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. Same.
Sorry.
I know. No, it is okay. The secret. This is still the comment. The secret of acceptable praying is a prepared heart, for the mouth speaks what the heart contains. So if you go in before God and you are pouring out all the things that you want, all the, or all the things that you're not trusting him about, or all the out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks, and that is true. So we see this in Matthew 12:34. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good things, and an evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth evil things. Sometimes when somebody I've heard people say too of, like especially people who are kind of like coaches and therapists about like abusers and that kind of thing. It's like if somebody tells you who they are, believe them. That happens so often, and especially women tend to like justify it. He didn't really mean that. Like, you know what I'm saying? If somebody just flat out basically tells you who they are, believe that. Because you think about it, and why has it never come out of your mouth? Because it's not in your heart. It has to be in your heart to come out of your mouth like that. You know what I'm saying? Flip it around. Think of what could you ever do that or say that to any other person? And if the answer is no, then there's your answer, you know. Verse 3, for a dream comes through much activity, and a fool's voice is known by his many words. When you make a vow to God, do not delay to pay it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay what you have vowed. Better not to vow than to vow and not pay. So here is the comment. God did not require his people to make vows in order to be accepted by him. Vows were an opportunity to express devotion if you felt led to do so, but fulfilling a vow once given was a sacred and binding duty. The Lord's word to us is true and binding. His promises to us are true and binding. This is a principle for us to understand the seriousness of our promises to him.
It's dangerous to make vows because you can forget that you made it.
Yep. Oh, I've done it. And I can see the consequences of it. I can look back over my life. And they were when I was young and foolish.
Right.
Lord, I vow, blah, 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 blah. I don't know that I lasted a week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I told the Lord, I was like, I'm going to give $100 to the church. Like, when we were just newly married.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, as the week went on, I was like, I'm just going to give 50. It wasn't even really a vow to say, but I was like, I'm going to give that, you know, just said it.
Yeah.
And then I had a dream that I got an F on a test at school, and it was a 50.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was an immediate, yeah, I was like,
Immediate
okay. So
rebuke.
gave $100.
Wow.
Because I said I would do it.
Yeah.
So,
if it comes out of your mouth, it's serious business. It's the way the Lord is teaching us. You know what I'm saying? He teaches us this way. It's not that he needed the $100. He's teaching you that if it comes out of your mouth, it means something. His words he spoke and created the heavens. That's the power of his word. So that's why the power of the word that we have is so important. And we can pray, especially the Psalms. The Psalms, a lot of them are prayers. And you use that as your own personal prayer, and there is power in that because it is the word of God. Does not return void. So he's teaching us a principle. Don't just say things that you don't mean. You know? Okay.
Are you going to get this sneak loot?
son, what are you doing? Take that tablet back there. We're having class.
What's he saying?
Oh my God.
Sorry, there's stuff in the room
He
that
just
nobody...
doesn't think.
In his own world.
Yeah.
He's in his own world.
Very impulsive.
Okay, verse 6. Do not let your mouth cause your flesh to sin, nor say before the messenger of God that it was an error. Why should God be angry at your excuse and destroy the work of your hands? For in the multitude of dreams and many words there is also vanity, but fear God. It's basically the same thing. I love you. Here is the comment. People often make empty vows because they live in a religious dream world. They think words are the same as deeds. Their worship is not serious and their words are not dependable. But here's an example I just threw in there. I told God that if he did this for me, that I would do that for him. I've heard that I don't know how many times. I hear it all the time.
Right.
I hear it all the time. I told God if he would do this, I would do that.
God doesn't need you to do
You don't understand who God is.
Right.
This is not, you've never had that fear. You've never had that thunder rock your world.
Right.
This is utter arrogance and ignorance of who God is. Lord, if you get me out of this, I'll never do that again. Those kind of things.
Well,
A lot of people have said that.
I prayed that.
I'm like, Lord, I hope not.
Yeah.
Every time I get food poisoning or like a stomach bug, I be praying like that. Like, Lord,
What-
I'll never eat there again. I don't know. I'm just,
Hi, Gigi.
Hey, baby, I love you. Yep, I
I
know.
hate throwing up.
Oh, me too. Me too. It'll cause you to say some foolish vows when you're throwing up. All right. Here's the next section. Still the same chapter. The vanity of gain and honor. So here is what he's going to turn his attention from the religious system to the courts. The courts. Courts. Corruption in the court system and politics. Observance of government officials using their authority to help themselves and not to serve others. Corruption in the court system. Using authority to help themselves and not to serve others. I'm guessing I don't have to say much more than that. If you see this is the verse, if you see the oppression of the poor and the violent perversion of justice and righteousness in a province, do not marvel at the matter. For a high official watches over high official and higher officials over them. So basically what he's saying, when we see things like Epstein, we shouldn't be, he's basically saying, don't be surprised. Because that authority, there's someone higher over him, there's someone higher over him. It's a network. It's a good old boy network system. And it's always been that way. Nothing new under the sun. He's basically saying, don't be surprised when you find out.
I feel that way just about the system I work for. Because, like, it says the oppression of the poor, and, like, oh, you know, at the evaluations, do you have any questions? You know, you go and you ask about a raise, and you never are talking to the right person. It's always the person above them, and the person above them, and the person above them. And it's like, why am I even
Right,
you know, like,
right.
Can't get
anything done.
Yeah,
it's a bureaucratic
it's
mess.
impossible to get to the top, to even talk to somebody. And, like,
Impossible to get to the top.
yeah, and I'll blow you off. And
You know why we're not going to see arrest here? Is because they're not going to arrest themselves.
no.
All of these blacked out names are the people who are in authority. They're the people who would have to do the arresting.
Yeah.
They're the people who would have to do the investigation.
Yeah.
They're the people who would be exposed. You know what I'm saying. And I think the majority of the population at this point at least has an idea that that's the case. And here we are. Verse 9. Moreover, the profit of the land is for all, even the king is served from the field. And what that verse basically means, okay, this is the note. The Hebrew of this verse is difficult to interpret, but most commentators agree that the idea is that it's better to have organized government over land than anarchy. It's basically saying it's better to have an organized government than none in the end. Even though they end up corrupt, and then there's a it's that cycle of nations that I'm sure everybody's heard about. You know, it's like it starts out, you know, corruption and tyranny leads to rebellion. Rebellion leads to, what is the name? Like an honest government or righteous government. I'm really paraphrasing. The righteous government leads to idleness, comfort, idleness. Idleness creates weak men, and then weak men create corruption, and then it's this thing. It goes over and over.
Yeah.
It's the cycle that goes over and over and over. So we shouldn't be surprised. But oh my goodness, I think everybody's been shocked at this one. Okay, verse 10. He who loves silver will not be satisfied with silver, nor he who loves abundance with increase. This is also vanity. You love silver, you're never going to be satisfied. You love abundance, you're never going to be satisfied with more. More is never enough. More and more is never enough is what that means. The comment, it's a myth that wealth brings satisfaction. 1 Timothy 6:10 says, for the love of money, people misquote this all the time. It's not money, it's the love of money. The love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Just like we were talking about a while ago with the greediness from the pulpit that is so corrupt. Okay, that's self-explanatory. Verse 11. When goods increase, they increase who eat them. So what profit have the owners except to see them with their eyes? Basically, one of the things that that's talking about is like if you gather wealth to yourself and you have a big house and then you have more stuff and let's say you have big gardens around your house and a big pool and all. I hear this about people that have pools. You know, you put a pool in the backyard and everybody comes over all the time. They're all in the pool. So it's basically, that's what the more people gather around to use your stuff. You know, it's like the more you have, the more people come around to kind of partake in what you have. And so what benefit is it then to look at it with your eyes is what, but it's never enough. Just to, that's really all it is to look at it, look at the pretty things around. But here's verse 12. The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eats little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not permit him to sleep. Oh yeah, here's a comment. I forgot about that. I just put this comment in there. Just a few months ago, I was sued for $1 million. This is true. It's my true story. You forgot about that?
I did forget.
I'll tell you. Well, there's a reason. Hold on. There's a reason I didn't ever mention it. I didn't lose 1 minute sleep over it. Can you imagine why?
Because you don't got $1 million.
I don't have $1 million.
Who sued you?
I got nothing, y'all. I don't even have a house. I'm like, okay, whatever.
You know.
Diva has Subaru and Pressa.
I know.
And that happened. That show was like, I was like, I wonder where they're going to get that from. I was like, where are they going to get the money?
So it was such a minor fender bender car accident, y'all. It was it was the bottleneck stop and go traffic where you move up 2 inches at a time, and I bumped this lady's bumper in front of me, and I don't even really know if maybe there's a little bit of on purpose to it. I wondered it later on. I kind of gave her the benefit of the doubt, but after I got the $1 million lawsuit, it made me wonder, But I literally bumped her bumper. It put a dent in her bumper, but didn't even make a mark, not even a scratch on my car. So that's how minor the impact was. But she called an ambulance. She called, and all this stuff. The ambulance, just had to check her.
Ambulance?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
She called an ambulance. And so at the end of that matter is that I ended up with a $1 million lawsuit. And I promise you, I didn't lose a minute's sleep over it. Y'all didn't even hardly know about it because I was just more annoyed that I had to take a day off work to go do the deposition. I was annoyed by that, just to go do the deposition downtown.
Did the judge laugh in her face and dismiss it?
It was just, they dismissed it eventually. They didn't even go anywhere. There was no judge. I just went to go do a deposition with the other party,
They were probably like, this can't be real.
Who knows? I mean, so apparently whatever she said, this law firm thought that there might be a lawsuit because they're all sharks, they're all snakes.
Oh, $1 million lawsuit here in Memphis? That's
Yeah. Anyway, that's a true story, y'all. And it was crazy. One of my sweet clients was really afraid for me. She was really worried about that for me. I'm like, I promise you, I am not worried about that. I mean, she could win, and then what?
Every time there's like a company,
What are you gonna get?
Truck or something like any like big name company, Dylan's like, please hit me. He's like, pay this car off.
Well,
People are so greedy. It's crazy.
It really
there
is
was
crazy.
An older lady that walked into the hitch on Dallas's truck.
Oh yeah.
Basically, it got her really good. She had to go to the hospital and get stitches on both, there was blood everywhere. But the car was parked in an appropriate parking spot. They were taking pictures of the license plate, and they're planning to sue and there's nothing, they don't have anything on them.
Oh my
but it's
gosh.
just insane.
That is insane.
so
You walk into a truck yourself,
Right.
a parked truck, and you're gonna sue.
So Dylan's, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Dylan's dad was going off about being broke and just unsatisfied with life last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just ranting
You should
about
have
it.
been here.
Uh-huh.
You should have been here.
Right?
I know, and so I had to take him to the grocery store before I came to class last week. We went into the grocery store and he's like, I want to get out here. And so he was searching through the stuff on the shelf and the light fixture came down and bam, hit him in the head. And he's like, oh, I was like, dang, that was your chance. Fall on the ground. I'm like, your neck, your back. I was just, it was hilarious.
That is true, and I don't want to get myself in trouble by saying anything in particular, but another one of my clients, y'all can tell all I do is work, and so those are the people I talk to. But another one of my clients is a paralegal, and she works for a grocery store, and I'm trying to not, I don't want to get myself in trouble, but there's a lot of these companies that will pay out just to make it, they'll just go away.
Exactly.
And you literally can just fake.
Yes.
And people do that. And they just, I could not look at myself in the mirror. I could not sleep. That would cause me to lose sleep.
Yeah, because
not
you're
this. Well, because I know I'm going to stand before God.
Exactly.
That's my judge. That $1 million lawsuit I didn't lose any sleep over that. But if I were to fake something and take money for something I lied about, I would never be able to sleep again.
Yeah.
You know?
We can't lie.
That's exactly right. Okay,
She's
go sit
feeling
down.
herself.
You're cute.
But she's sitting over there cheesing the camera.
I know. Okay, let's see. What led up to this?
Um,
The sleeper of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eats little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not permit him to sleep. There you go. Verse 13, there is a severe evil which I've seen under the sun. Riches kept for their owner to his hurt. Riches kept for their owner to his hurt. There's another thing, and this doesn't have to be this way, but have y'all heard of the lottery curse? Like people who win the lottery and their lives fall absolutely apart.
Which is crazy.
They end up committing suicide. A lot of them end up committing suicide or just end up on the streets. They end up literally begging on the streets because their lives go that awry.
I don't know what to do with that kind of money.
I don't know what to do with that kind of money either, but I would like to think that I wouldn't.
I have a list.
I know exactly what I do.
I know. We all think we know, but
Right, so,
anyway. But those riches perish through misfortune. When he begets a son, there is nothing in his hands. As he came from his mother's womb, naked shall he return. To go as he came, and he shall take nothing from his labor, which he may carry away in his hand. And this is also a severe evil. Just exactly as he came, so shall he go. And what profit has he who has labored for the wind? All his days he eats in darkness, and he has much sorrow and sickness and anger. Sorrow and sickness and anger. This is a picture of the Wall Street crash that happened in 1929 that led to the Great Depression. For those, I know this is kind of ancient history for this generation, but there was a big Wall Street crash, 1929, and that's what led to the years that followed the Great Depression. What?
Why are you acting like we don't know about?
Well, yeah, I know you know, but maybe not everybody knows.
I mean, Black Friday. Stock market crash.
Yeah. Okay,
I
maybe
don't really know about this.
maybe
I
y'all
don't
know.
know details.
Okay, so the details are there were suicides, and there were two men that actually jumped from the building, and this is a picture of one of them.
I did not know this happened.
Yeah,
They jumped from the building.
yeah.
Because the market
There-
crashed, so everybody's money they had invested was pretty much gone. So everybody was pretty much flat broke. That's crazy. So all the money you thought you had a lot of money at the time, but then whenever
In one
the
day.
economy crashed,
In one day.
The
This is the
entire
picture.
country. It
the
wasn't just
entire
like a
United
couple people,
States. Yeah.
It
Crazy that
started.
you would
The only way to
yeah,
fix it was going into war.
Yeah.
so.
And that's the truth. Well,
That's the
anyway,
truth.
it's true.
That's what happened. That's
Do you
how
know how
they
many
fixed
people
it.
died during the Great Depression because the economy was so bad? There was no food. There was no.
Yeah,
people couldn't
it
afford
really
their
was bad.
houses. There were droughts, so everything like, oh my God, read Grapes of Wrath.
Yeah,
You're telling
it
me you
was.
wouldn't at least try to push on? You're
It
just gonna
lasted years.
Jump out the
It
window.
took until
It
what,
took-
42?
Well, I think
for
jumping out the
World War II to
window,
solve it.
I know what she's saying is that in one day, I mean, come on, this is the first day it happens and people were committing suicide. And there were, from what I could see, there were two men that actually jumped out the window that day. Because the point is, their identity was so bound up
And their
that-
wealth. Them
in their
rich.
wealth that they literally were that despondent that they felt like they had nothing to live for at that point. It was gone. Their whole entire identity, their purpose in life was over.
Oh my gosh.
And they were that despondent that they
So
jumped.
sad.
Yeah. It really is so very sad.
I was talking to Jordan about my grandmother because she lived through the Great Depression and how there was one time she sent me to the store with a list and she had the price of each item marked on the side and she knew down to the cent, like the taxes and everything, what it was going to be. She wrote a check for me. Like she knew.
Yes. Man, she was
Down
insane
to
about
the
it. She
cent.
Wow.
would circle the tax on all her receipts and turn it into
Yeah, and
IRS.
she called me. She was
Wow.
like, "Let me know if you need any more, but this should cover it." I said,
And
"You're
she-
good."
She did.
Damn.
She was crazy.
Because she lived through the Great Depression.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when because you were the first, I sat you down at the table there and asked her for some crayons. And she went in her little closet of all the things that and she brought out this pack of 8 crayons that had your dad's name written on it in kindergarten handwriting that she had that freaking long.
Do you know how many crayons Beckett has just
Crayons.
straight up broken in my face?
They're like 40 cents.
Everybody
Yes.
gets crayons every year at
Yes.
school, so we just threw the old ones away.
But that is the
Mindset.
fallout, the mindset of the Great Depression. And now we throw everything away. Crazy. Anyway, here's the comment. It's not just dollars, it's idolatry.
Yeah.
Proverbs 30 verse 7 says, 2 things I request of you. This is a good one, y'all. This is Proverbs. 2 things I request of you, to God. Deprive me not before I die. Remove falsehood and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food allotted to me, lest I be full and deny you and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and profane the name of my God. That was the prayer of that was a proverb. So that was Solomon, probably 30. It might have been.
Wait.
There's another writer's proverbs, but anyway. But that's one of the things that I have been tested on this week, y'all. And it's like, and sometimes it's fun. I just decided after being tested on this all week with 4 kids in tow today, just to make it an adventure. It's like, let's see what kind of adventure we can get into with $0 today. It's like, what can we do? And so sometimes you just gotta be creative and, yeah, we did it.
Jordan was telling me that him and his neighborhood friends growing up, there's a lady named Miss Kelly, you probably met her, but she would watch all of them, and she sent them on a scavenger hunt within the neighborhood,
Yeah.
right? And she wrote like the most wildest things on there, so they would never make
Never get back.
And she wrote, find a speed limit sign not ending in 5 or 0.
Oh my gosh.
In a neighborhood.
Oh my gosh.
They walked the whole neighborhood.
Bro, they never made it home.
So funny.
I had an aunt, or I still have an aunt, but when her kids were little, Aunt Becky, and she was just very, the most, I don't know a better word, but kind of, I guess country, just the most country. But she used to take nine pennies and just chunk them as hard as she can in the backyard, and tell her 2 sons, she's like, y'all go out there and find them pennies. I want all 10 of them. Don't come back to get all 10 pennies. There are only 9. So. The fun. Okay.
My kids would not be going for that. They'd be looking for 1 solid 60 seconds. What? And come in and say, we can't look.
pennies.
We can't, yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Well, those were old school rules where she probably beat them on the way back in if they, but. All right, verse 18. Here is what I have seen. It is good and fitting for one to eat and drink and to enjoy the good of all his labor, for which he toils under the sun all the days of his life, of which God gives him, for it is his heritage. As for every man whom God has given riches and wealth, and given him power to eat of it, and to receive his heritage and rejoice in his labor, this is the gift of God. For he will not dwell unduly on the days of his life, because God keeps him busy with the joy of his heart. The comment: the goal is to be content with your life, whether what you have, and to be grateful and enjoy what you have. No matter what your station is, to be grateful for that and enjoy it. Chapter 6. There is an evil which I've seen under the sun, and it is common among men. A man to whom God has given riches and wealth and honor, so that he lacks nothing for himself of all he desires. Yet God does not give him power to eat of it, but a foreigner consumes it. This is vanity and an evil affliction. Okay, I've got a story. This is the comment. Many people have worked hard to retire only to die early or become sick. I've heard that story a bajillion times in the salon. A bajillion times. And a lot of it is, I think the fault is in the mindset of the culture, is that you work until you're 63 or whatever, that now it might be 93, 83, whatever the age is now.
You're like, oh, I can finally relax. Then it's like, what do I do? And I'm old.
Then you can't. So many times that they plan like the big trip around the world, or the big, travel, do this or do that, or the big cruise, and those things that they put off until they retire, and then they get sick, or they have cancer, or their spouse dies, or so many things happen, and then they never get to do the thing that they were working all those years to do. It happens all the time. There is, again, another client of mine who was by far, his name was Dennis, by far one of the top 2 or 3 wealthiest clients I ever had. And he was this is a really good example, y'all, because he had this incredible come up story. Because he would tell me about him being a high school dropout. He went through the 10th grade and dropped out of high school. And bless you. But he, over time, he built this company up that made little machine parts. Eventually, over time, he got a contract with FedEx for certain parts for the DC-10, which is the plane that one of the main planes that they use for the DC-10. That was his big, that was his big moment. And so he had all of these parts he supplied all this stuff for FedEx, and he had buku money. To me, what to me is buku money. I don't know if it's not like.
I'm sure it was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money.
A
A lot.
Like,
Buku, a lot. It's like a bastardization of a French word, but anyway. Yeah. There, that's how you say it. That's how you say it.
I just thought it was what you said.
Yeah.
So
I've never heard of it.
anyway, so he at one point he had somebody from FedEx called him and said, we no longer need your services. We hired this other company we hired this other company and we're going to get parts from them now. Thanks, but no thanks, goodbye. Okay. Are y'all following me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was so despondent and upset because this immediately in one day unexpectedly cut off everything that he had, all of his income, everything he was planning on to retire from, and he went into a tailspin. He was like, oh my gosh.
Right.
And he was like, can you at least, he basically begged them, can you at least buy my inventory? Because nobody except for FedEx was going to ever use these parts. And he had like over $100,000 of inventory. He's like, can you at least buy it? And they wouldn't even do that. They wouldn't give him the time of day. Okay. And so he was in a whole tailspin.
Yes.
So one of his friends really encouraged him to write a letter. This was some years ago, and write a letter to Fred Smith. I heard these stories before that Fred Smith was this kind of owner. He really was this kind of guy. And he said, write a letter and explain all of this to him. He said, you may not get an immediate response. He said, but just do it. Trust me, just do it. So he did, and he was telling me all this story sitting in my chair while I'm doing his hair. He said he decided against his wife's. His wife was like, "This is stupid. Don't do it this way." And he's like, "No, this is what I'm doing." He said he hand wrote a letter. He said, with my 10th grade education, hand wrote this letter to Fred Smith explaining everything he had done, all the money he had saved for that company, because it was so important to him and his business. He was hands-on. He was overseeing that like nobody's. He had saved that. He had saved them all kinds of money. And so he was really invested in this business. So he hand wrote this letter to Fred Smith. So he never heard back from Fred Smith himself. But all of a sudden he gets this phone call from the same guy who blew him off. And they were doing cartwheels. He was like, I'm so sorry, there's been a mistake. Oh my God. And so not only did they buy his inventory, but they rehired him.
Wow.
Like, never mind.
Wow.
So he got all this back. So that's the backdrop. This is important to this story. Okay. So this is
Fred
how
Smith must be the owner of FedEx.
he's dead now, but he was the founder of FedEx.
Wow.
Okay. So his identity, my client Dennis, his identity was very tied up in this. This is an amazing come up story. Amazing. And he would show me sometimes. He's like, I just love seeing that. And he'd show me on his phone that just $75,000 deposits and stuff like that just going in, ding, 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 going into his phone. Anyway.
I hope he tipped you well after showing you that.
He was, well, yeah, he didn't tip. I mean, for a haircut, yes. He was generous for what it was. But he was this sweet guy, blue jeans, flannel truck all the time, but he had all kind of money. But anyway, so this was so important to him, his business, that when it came time to retire, his wife had gone ahead of him to Nashville. They had this retirement home, and she had been there 5 years waiting on him to sell this company and go retire. And he had a hard time selling it because he couldn't find a buyer that would buy it at the right price. So he kept holding out and holding out and holding out for 5 years. He held out for 5 years, still working. Finally, he found a buyer that was the number. He never told me what the number was. But finally, he found somebody that was going to give him what he felt like it was worth. And so when I saw him, and I said, oh, okay. He said, I finally found a buyer. He says, I'm going to stay on just for a little while as consulting, just to kind of transition. And then after the transition is over, then I'll finally go and retire at his, Nashville home or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, that's really cool. I said, how long do you think it'll be? And he says, oh, just to about the end of the year. Because it was close to December or maybe December, somewhere when I saw him. And he's like, just to the end of the year. and then I'll retire. I'll just finish up the year, and then that'll be it, and then we'll go retire. I was like, okay, cool. If I'm lying, I'm dying, y'all. If I'm lying, I'm dying. The first week of January, I got a message from his wife telling me that he had suddenly died.
No freaking way.
I promise you. And
so crazy.
it is the craziest.
Crazier than that first week he retired.
1 week.
Wow.
1 week.
Wow.
So that's just a really good example of this right here. It's like being so, your identity is so caught up
In your business
in the
yada, yada.
business.
You don't enjoy life. You didn't get to enjoy it.
He never
just thinking,
that goal.
Yeah, 75,000 just pour it in
Bing,
like that.
bing,
Just get
bing.
rid of it and go.
Yeah.
Like be content.
Right. Be content with what you have, or just sell it for. But you can understand though.
Yeah.
I understood.
He worked hard. But
He
still,
worked
man.
hard. I mean, any of us could understand that. What are y'all laughing at?
Back.
He was forcing himself off the couch and
like,
then
got
got off
forced
and then
himself to
cried
stand
and then I
Went right back.
yeah.
He didn't Ryan. He slept a lot.
Okay.
What is he doing?
Man, that is crazy though.
Isn't that crazy? But it was.
Wow.
It's such a good illustration
Yeah,
of
that's
exactly
great.
this.
Yeah.
Verse 3. If a man begets 100 children and lives many years, so that the days of his years are many, but his soul is not satisfied with goodness, or indeed he has no burial, I say that a stillborn child is better than he. For if it comes in vanity and departs in darkness, talking about the stillborn child, and its name is covered with darkness, though it has not seen the sun, nor known anything. This has more rest than that man. Even if he lives 1,000 years twice, but has not seen goodness, do all not go to one place? All the labor of a man is for his mouth, and yet the soul is not satisfied. And this is really the end of these things. If you think about it, if this is all you're basing it on, is this life, it is pointless. That's why it says over and over, there is no point to this if all you're basing it off of is this world and this life. Philippians 4:11 says, not that I need to speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am to be content. All right, back to Ecclesiastes verse 8. For what more has the wise man than the fool? What does the poor man have? Who knows how to walk before the living? Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of desire. This is also vanity and grasping for the wind. Okay, the comment, it's better to have a little and really enjoy it than to dream about much and never attain it. Just enjoy what you have. We should be careful that our ambition is motivated by the glory of God and not the praise of men. That should be our motivation should be to bring God glory.
Before we got this house, like I was very depressed and like discontent, but like wrestling with it. I guess I got many. I guess long story about that, but the Lord rebuked me for coveting, and lots of stuff. But I mean, towards the end of the road there, I was like, I mean, if this is really what you have for me, I just have to be content. And I had my feelings and all of this, went through all this stuff, and I was like, fine. Like, if this is it, then that's it.
Yeah.
I will do it.
Yeah.
I'll be content, and I'll be content with my life. Here, and then it was like, okay, good. And then the ball rolled. I was like, what?
Because
like,
that's what the Lord was waiting on.
yeah. To be thankful, to be content with where I was.
To surrender it. Surrender it. He was waiting on that, and then he gave you your heart's desire.
Yeah.
This morning I was reading in Leviticus, and there's a verse in Leviticus that says, he's talking about the Levites, how Moses is the allotment of all of the, in Leviticus, all the tribes of Israel were allotted land except the Levites. And the Lord said to them that you will not have an inheritance among men, but I will be your inheritance.
You know, the Levites were priests.
Yeah.
And believers
Are
become
priests.
priests and kings.
Yes.
So we don't have
An inheritance
on
among,
earth.
on earth.
Oh, that's a
Yes, it hit me because, like I said, this is the beginning. In case you haven't caught on yet, this is the beginning in salons of like the slow season, Memorial Day week, and all of a sudden, like people have been coming in, and all of a sudden it's like it comes to like a screeching halt, and it's like Ask me if I'm prepared. No. Ask me if it happens every year. It does. Am I ever prepared? No. But can you be? Who can save money these days? Anyway.
right.
But yeah, but
Grasping for the wind.
it's great.
Sure
It's
is.
like I feel like it's a Chuck E. Cheese wind tunnel. Anyway. But
That's ridiculous.
Oh, it's the ticket
Yeah.
money. I was like, what? Oh,
yeah, that's what my money feels like. It's just like, just like every now and then right as I was going through to get mine and Jolene's and our little snacky snack on the way here, and I had like tried to squirrel away a few little dollars, and I looked and I found a $20 bill that I didn't see before, and I'm like, hey, I was like, all right. I was like, Jolie, look at this. I was like,
So basically, it was free.
I mean,
basically, you didn't know you had it.
I didn't know I had it.
Hey, if I return something and then there's like magically money from that return and I buy something else with it, that was free.
Okay.
Oh, girl math.
Girl math.
Yeah.
That's girl math.
It is.
And I'll do it again.
Where am I at? Okay, John 3:4-34. My food, said Jesus, is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. Mm-hmm. If that is really our sustenance, if that is our food, if that is what we live for and live on, to do the will of him who sent us, then we're satisfied. If we do it, we're satisfied. We don't have an inheritance among men. Our inheritance is God himself. And how can we not be satisfied with that? I was looking at houses that are probably, anyway, my sister, sweet Gina, who keeps sending me house listings, and I'm like, it's never gonna happen, but I'll anyway. But I was looking at one, and it was so crazy. It was $199,000. I'm like, well, okay, I'll look at that one. It was trashed. Half of it was literally, there was a section of it that was in shambles. I mean, the bricks were falling down in a pile on the outside, and it was $199,000.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm like, what exactly are you selling here?
I don't know.
The bones.
The bones.
Like,
Got-
it's good bones.
Good bounds, good bounds.
Maybe the location.
That's what they said about our
sometimes the
house.
location is worth that. I mean, honestly, but
Here's the more than.
anyway.
I know. I was shocked when
They're
they said
saying
they
that
were
'cause
like,
it's
"Oh
probably
yeah, there's
like
good."
outdated decors. Or,
It was very
Yeah.
outdated decor, but like whatever. I
Yeah.
don't care. She
You-
kept, she
you
kept
can
saying
tell.
that about the houses that I liked, and I
They
think
were saying that
I
about
went
the house
wrong.
next door that we looked at by her, and it sure outdated, but it was like great. It was
Right.
Good.
Yeah. No, this one was not. This one was like, and I couldn't believe it was listed at $199. I was like, who would want that? I mean, you'd have to. I don't even know what you'd have to do that.
Right.
But it was part of the
House
location.
flippers, people
House
that-
flippers, yeah. All right. Verse 10. Whatever one is, he has been named already. For it is known that he is a man, and he cannot contend with him who is mightier than he. Since there are many things that increase vanity, how is man the better? For who knows what is good for man in life? All the days of his vain life, which passes like a shadow. Who can tell a man what will happen after him under the sun? So Solomon is observing two kinds of people: those who have riches but no enjoyment, and those who labor but to no satisfaction. True happiness is not the result of making a good living. It's the byproduct of making a good life. Devote yourself to God and you will find happiness. So,
All vanity and fascinating.
all is vanity. This is a good
Nothing
book. This is a cool book, though, to explore these topics. It's
What
pretty
I'm
good.
saying. I live my life by Ecclesiastes. That's why,
That nothing matters.
yeah.
It's
That's why I'm gonna go to the beach. I don't have the money to go, but here we are.
because it's all vanity anyway, right?
I'm gonna enjoy what I got.
Hey, sand is
And
free.
the Lord will bless my efforts.
He does.
You know what though? I'm here for that. I'm here for that.
Yeah. Okay. I love you, Mariah.
Love you too.
Go
Look,
to Europe then.
do what?
I'm gonna go to Europe then.
Go to Europe.
If I don't come
Yeah.
back.
And I will do my very, very level best, like I do this is one of the things that your mom and I have done it for each other many times. Tell me again,
You're
remind me that we are rich.
My mom told me I'll talk about
we
that
are-
last week.
We are rich, and it's
Yeah.
really true. We are rich.
Yeah.
It's got to be Dorothy behind me.
Yeah.
We are. Hey, Dorothy, come here. Even though this is love, this right here is wealth. You know what I'm saying? This is wealth. It's true. And these are the things that the Lord gives graciously.
What are you doing, Dorothy?
Flowers, puppies, rain, rainbows.
I love rainbow.
You do. I do too. I love you more.
You want to?
I love you. All right. On that note, love, love, love. Goodbye.
It's hard.